Hello again, BookTube people. I have my very first book haul today. I'm super excited to show you guys the newest books that I am adding to my TBR and my collection. So a lot of these are from Book Outlet, which I mentioned in my first video that I get a ton of my books from. And I'll let you know which ones out of the ones I'm going to show you are from Book Outlet. Most of them I spent around $1.50 to $4 on, depending, and they're all in really, really good shape, and I can't talk enough good things about Book Outlet. So yeah, I'm just gonna dive right in. So this first book is from Book Outlet, and it's from their damaged, the ripped or damaged section. So this is actually the most damage I've ever seen on a book from Book Outlet. Normally, if there's any kind of damage, it's just like a tiny little tear in the dust cover or a tiny little dent. This first book is called Brooklyn, and I'm pretty excited to read this one. It was on YouTube a couple weeks ago, and I saw a movie trailer for this movie, and it had the same girl that was in The Host, Saoirse something or other. I can't say her name. I'm sorry. So yeah, this book is about an immigrant girl from Ireland, I believe, and she comes over to America to try to get a job, and she does get a job, and she finds a boy, and then there's some kind of tragedy that happens, and she has to go back to Ireland, and then she has to decide whether she is going to stay home in her native country, or if she's going to come back to America and pick up her life where she left off. So I'm pretty excited to read this one. It's pretty small, and yeah, here's the damage to the cover. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's dented a little bit and creased a bit. But it is a soft cover, so I'm thinking that if I just smush it between two hardcovers, it should probably flatten out a little bit. But yeah, this is the most damage I've ever seen to a book from Book Outlet. So I'm pretty sure I spent like maybe $2 on this. So for a $2 book, it's really not that big of a deal, I think. Next book I have for you. This book is the cheapest book I have ever got from Book Outlet. So I'm really excited to read this one. I'm really excited to add it to my bookshelf. And that is The Glass Arrow by Kristen Simmons. And I actually didn't even realize that I had another book from her, but she actually wrote Article 5 as well, which is on my TBR, and I still haven't read it. So yeah, I'll have to add both of those to my TBR now. But yeah, I only spent $1.50 on this book. That is ridiculous. I don't think that you could go and buy a hardcover edition of any recent book anywhere else, even Goodwill, for $1.50. Okay, so yeah, Book Outlet's awesome. Anyways, yeah, I don't really know too much about this book. There's a lot of good talk about it on the back. I think it's kind of like a survival type of story of some sort, so it looks really interesting, and I can't wait to read it. The next book I have for you is Compulsion. I'm pretty excited to read this one. It's been on my want to get list for a little while, but I just haven't actually gotten it yet. So it's the first book in, I believe, a trilogy, but I'm not 100% that it's a trilogy. I know there is at least one sequel to this, so it may just be a duology. I'm not really sure. And again, this one, I don't really know too much about it. I know it's set in the Deep South at a plantation, and it has something to do with a family curse, and some crazy shit starts happening to this girl. So I really don't know too much about it, but I know that she meets a boy. So it looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited to actually read it, so I'm hoping that I get to that pretty soon. The next book that I have for you guys is the first bind up to the Lux series. Now this has the first 2 books in it. I have not read this series yet, but I've heard so much good things about it that I have added it to my wanted to get list. I know it has to do with aliens, and that's pretty cool. I love a good sci-fi, and I love a good sci-fi in YA. There's only a couple of them that I've read and I really, really enjoyed. So I'm pretty excited about that. So this is the first 2. It's a really pretty collector's edition, and it's sparkly. And this one again, I think I spent like $2 or $3 on the book outlet, so you can't go wrong with that. This is the Lux Opposition bind-up. This has the last book in the Lux series and also a prequel story in it. So I just need the middle one, and then I will have the whole series and I can just binge read the whole thing. So I'm pretty excited about that. Again, a great book outlet find. It's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. I think I spent $2 or $3 on it. And this next book I'm going to show you, I have read this book. I really enjoyed this book. I also really enjoyed the movie, which is not that common of a thing. I heard that a lot of people really didn't like this movie when it was adapted. But I saw it on Book Outlet. I really had to have it because I needed a copy of this book and I really wanted to reread it. And that is The Host by Stephenie Meyer. I have read her Twilight series. I've only been able to read it through once though, because after that, I don't know if my mindset was just different, but I just couldn't connect to the story the same way as I did the first time. So I was really hesitant actually to pick up The Host. But then after I did, I realized how wonderful this story is, and I was kicking myself for not picking it up sooner. So this is the very pretty movie tie-in edition. It is a soft cover. Again, Book Outlet find, $2 or $3. You can't go wrong with it. And I'm really excited to add this to my shelf and to actually reread it. So the next book I have for you guys, I got from Walmart. I had my eye on it for a while. I wanted to get it from Barnes & Noble the last time I was there, but it was like $30. And there was just no way that I was going to spend that much on one book when I knew for sure that I could find it elsewhere cheaper. Whether that be Book Outlet or Amazon or Shopko or wherever. There's lots of different places around here that I could get books for cheaper than $30 for one book. And this is not a YA book from my knowledge. I believe it is an adult novel, but it looks really, really interesting and I really can't wait to read it. And that is All the Light We Cannot See. Now this has so many book awards on it and so much hype, it's ridiculous. There's not a whole lot of hype going around in the YA community because, like I said, it is not a YA book to my knowledge, but it looks really, really interesting. And from my understanding, it's basically a dual point of view story, and in the middle, those two perspectives intertwine, and both sides of the story come together. About a girl and I believe a boy, and the boy somehow gets roped into helping out the army and all this crazy stuff, and this girl gets wrapped up into it somehow, and it's supposed to be really, really beautiful writing, really poetic, and really a deep, meaningful story. So I'm really excited to read this one. I hope that I get to it within the next month or two. Somehow I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but I can hope, and it's just a beautiful book. I got this from Walmart for I think $20, which is a pretty good deal considering Barnes & Noble had it for like $28 or something like that. So it was a pretty good deal. So if you want to look for some cheaper books around your area at a store, I highly suggest Walmart. They don't always have every book, depending, and a lot of times one Walmart can differ from another Walmart, but usually they do have at least a couple dollar discount compared to Barnes & Noble. So that's one way that I've gotten a couple books is from Walmart, because you can actually get them a little bit cheaper. The only downside to Walmart is they have the stickiest price stickers ever, and they always stick them right here on the dust jacket. And some of my books, I have not been able to get it off. This one, I luckily was able to get it off and just rub it with a tiny bit of rubbing alcohol and it came off. But some are not that lucky. So that is a downfall to Walmart. Now, the last book I have for you guys is actually an art copy, and I'm really excited about this one. Dreamland by Robert L. Anderson. Now, this is a debut novel. It is a YA book. I do believe that this is the start of a series, but it doesn't say for sure on the back. What it's about is a girl who actually travels through people's dreams. And so she's not supposed to repeat the same person or the same dream, but she does. And a whole bunch of crap happens. So I'm pretty excited to read this one. I'm hoping to read this one and do a review on it within the next month. The way I acquired this ARC is if you go on to Team Epic Reads, their website, they have a YouTube channel, they do all kinds of cool giveaways, and they do appearances at the different book conferences and festivals and that type of thing. And they are centered around the YA that gets published by HarperCollins and in the YA community. They actually have a sign up on their website to go and become an early reader. And it's kind of like a club of some sort. And what you do is you just go and you basically fill out a survey with your information and the type of books you like to read, and you can request to get a free book from them. And I don't know that every person who signs up gets a copy of a book, but I've only signed up twice and I've gotten a copy each time. So I'm not sure exactly how they do that or how they decide who gets books and who doesn't. But yeah, this book is due to be published next month. So all you have to do is you go and sign up, you pick the type of books that you like to read, and then if they have one that matches that criteria, they will send you one. And after about a month or two, they'll send you an email and ask you to fill out a survey what you thought of the book. At the end of that survey, you can actually request to get another book from them. So it's the same type of thing. You fill out what type of books you like to read, or say like out of a romance and an adventure book, which would you prefer to read? And then they will send you one that meets that criteria if they have one. So yeah, this is my second one that I got from them. The first one I got was Magonia. It was fantastic. I filled out the survey and I got a book about 2 weeks later. Right now I'm actually reading The Cage, and this one so far is pretty good. It's pretty interesting. It's very different from the traditional YA books that I've read within the last year or so. So it's pretty exciting. So as soon as I'm done with The Cage, I'm going to be starting Dreamland and then move on through the rest of my TBR list for the next month or so. I will probably be putting up a video in September to do a wrap up of August and just show you the books that I am planning to try and tackle in the month of September. And then hopefully there will be a couple reviews that I can put up in September as well. So I hope you enjoyed this book haul. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, just put them down in the doobly-doo, and I will do my best to get back to anybody who comments or has a question or anything. Like I said, check out Book Outlet. For all those books that I got I think like 8 books or so, I spent $20 including shipping. I mean, that's awesome. You can't go wrong with that. If you have any questions about Book Outlet, where I get my books, what I'm reading, what I'm thinking of the books that I've read this year, please just let me know. Put them in the comments and I'd be happy to answer your questions. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.